What is good, Renegade Nation? It has been a while since we've done this, but before we begin the video, I want to give a shout out to our most recent Patreon supporters and YouTube members. Roman Penn, Michaela Chaperonova, Pixely Wolf, Donald Fuller, Eric Green, Matthew Paulson, Meister McTeague, Alex Love, Tom Sketchett, Josh Wilson, Avery H., Libby Brinkman, Chris, Starkiller SCP-049, Kinvara, Frederick Yeager, Damn Is It, Jovan Ramos, Seth Clark, Yo Boy Daniel, Benjamin Cooper, Thezion1111, Finn Pirola Henderson, and as always, I'd like to give a shout out to our executive producer, Bevan Brummett, and welcome our new executive producer, Hades Belt. Thank you all very much for your support. If you want to support us on Patreon, feel free to click the link in the description. Thanks again, everyone, and we'll see you later. Tally-ho, lads!
Lightsaber time, baby.
Use the Force, young Padawan. Oh my god!
Here we go, by God.
Yep, we got ourselves a...
Dead quick.
It's gonna creep me out because I don't know anything about any of our neighbors.
I know that the only ones.
I know that one over there is a doctor.
Oh yeah.
And these people, they just fix their front porch, but that's about it.
All I know is these people have a Tesla.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this lady, like down on the left, has a fluffy white cloud puppy.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know that it's not this cul-de-sac, but it's basically the opposite one of ours. The one if you go straight.
There's 3 doctors right there, aren't there?
There's one I know. He's a Asian doctor, and he is a. Let's see. He was a. I believe a. What's it called? It's one that works on like skin. And,
Dermatologist.
Yes, thank you. Dermatologist. And I met his daughter. Very attractive young woman. When her car broke down in the middle of the intersection there.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, I helped boost her car off. And her dad basically like ran up the road to try and come and help. By the time he got up there, like we had her car fixed and everything. And he was just like, "Oh, thank you." And he actually like reached in his wallet to like give me money. I'm like, no. That's more. It's not necessary. I'm glad that she was able to get her car working again. And she like ran up to me and like clasped my hands and just like thank you so much, thank you. And I'm just like, no problem.
You're like, okay, well.
She was hot. She
Yeah.
was extremely hot. I was just like,
It's like,
Should
what
have
do
got
you
her
say?
phone number.
I wish I would have. Thinking
it's
back
like-
now, I'm just
it's
like,
like,
it's like you
instead of
don't.
money-
But like, I don't
Get
need
your
money.
phone
I don't need
number.
money. Like, if you want to give me your phone number, though.
Yeah.
Like,
Just be like, my name is Nathan. It's very nice to meet you. I was
my
going to say,
business card.
here's my business card. I'm a YouTuber. Oh gosh.
Go check it out.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I thought that was the intro to the video.
I did too.
Damn it. Okay, fine. We'll make that the intro to the video.
Well, we're talking about our neighborhood.
really
This
did.
movie-
We are
this
talking
video's
about our neighbors, but at the same time, what if like that doctor's daughter sees this and she's just like, "Oh my gosh, he thought I was hot."
Well,
Oh, God forbid you
put it
actually
all
like
out
get
there,
laid or
Nate.
something. Like, wouldn't that be awful?
Oh, shut the fuck up, Nick. Shut up. Damn it all.
he burned you really good with that one.
Asshole, we're gonna come back there.
Oh,
Don't
no.
stab me.
Fucking dick.
Don't stab me, bro.
We don't have to worry about neighbors.
Either that
we
or I'll
gotta
peel
worry
your
about
face off. Come on.
housemates here.
I burn myself more than anyone else burns me. Self-deprecation's my defense mechanism. Anyway.
You didn't have a comeback for that one, though.
Well, what was I supposed to say? It's like, oh no, I don't want to get laid. I want to remain on a dry streak for the next 15 years of my life and die without ever having to feel the touch of another person. God.
One day, Nate. One day. Just wait for it.
I mean, honestly, ever since I started focusing on my YouTube career, it's just been like relationships have sort of been like non-existent. Because how does the conversation go? It's just like, oh, so what do you do for a living? I am a contractor for Google. It's like, okay, so what do you do for them? I'm like, I'm a YouTuber. Oh, okay. And it's always the exact same thing.
Yeah, because
You're
the
just
problem
not
is
being the
what
right person.
pops into someone's head when you tell them that.
Is I live in my mother's basement, and
And
literally...
you have like 2 people that watch your stuff and you don't actually make any money. Like
Yes.
they assume you're unemployed.
Which is not true.
So what you have
No.
to say is I'm a successful YouTuber.
Well, I've shown them the channel, and there was one girl, she got freaked out by how popular I was. I was just like, oh yeah, we had like, at that time it was like, oh, we have over like 140,000 subscribers. She was just like, what? I'm like, yeah.
Dude, I get freaked out by how popular we are.
I don't get it.
It's like people come in Discord sometimes, dude, you're like the most famous person I've ever got to talk to. What? Huh?
What? Huh?
I'm famous? What the fuck?
Oh my
It's like,
gosh.
I wasn't aware of this. Like,
Oh, God. So we have neighbors that seem very nice, but here's the thing: sometimes nice neighbors are not that nice once you learn some things about them. For instance,
yeah, sometimes they'll like call the cops on you for partying too loud.
which hasn't happened
Hasn't
here.
happened.
Thankfully.
And
Yet.
thankfully will not happen.
Yeah.
Because we double check our sound barriers.
Yes. Which whenever it's down here,
Well, I
no
kind
chance
of
in hell.
I kind of
Yeah,
worried
but
about it at
upstairs.
Quinn's party just because people kept going in and out the front door, and I noticed
Oh,
when
yeah.
the front door was open, it was pretty loud. But
Well, thankfully, because of how the garage is, the garage basically acts as like a brace against like most of the sound escaping into the cul-de-sac. So it's good for that. Plus, we have the trees.
so I
there
think
as
it sort
well
of
up front.
directs it off into like the field, so it's probably
Yeah, it
and
diffuses
like
out
the
there.
like that area, like the next house over, is like quite far away. So
Plus,
it's not
there's
like
trees in the way there too. The
Yeah.
tree barrier that our neighbors have, and
So like the 1 or 2 people that are actually close to us, they probably gets directed away.
yeah, we have a huge like part of our property which is just like empty, and there's no one there. If we had a house right there, I'd be worried.
Yeah.
But we don't, so hey, all good. So I've never had like horrible neighbor like experiences, save for like every now and again like a nosy neighbor like peeking in. It's just like, oh, I was really good friends with the last people who lived here, and you know they didn't mind me like stepping out on the back porch and peering in the back window, and that literally happened with like the last place we lived in. What? Yeah, this woman, we lived there for like 2 months. 2 months. And it was before Nick actually had a chance to move in.
Wait, was this at the mansion?
Yes. This woman, who, you know, the old woman who lived next door, she basically came up on the back porch, and we were moving stuff around inside, and all of a sudden I look back and I just see her just like peering in through the window, and I'm just like, whoa, whoa. And she's just like, oh, hi there, hi. I'm your neighbor. I've known the people who own this house for a long time.
Sure.
And I'm just like,
Well,
that's
yeah, I
all
don't
well
know
and
you.
good, but
Oh.
like we don't know you. I mean,
Use the front door if you want to introduce yourself.
yeah, exactly. Don't peer in like the back door window, just like what the fuck? Like, what?
I'm glad I never saw her looking at the window. I'm like, what the f?
I really
Yeah.
hope that doesn't happen here. I'd have a heart
no.
attack.
I mean, it's just an old lady.
Well,
but
no, because
still.
we don't have anyone who like.
It's like right beside us, but
Yeah.
still.
Yeah, we live in a very like
Those
open
houses
area.
were really close together.
Oh, very close.
Yeah.
It was sort of uncomfortable close. But overall, like that was probably the most uncomfortable there. The other thing that happened was I think maybe I could have been seen as the creepy neighbor at one point, because here's what happened.
What did you do?
No, I didn't. Here's the thing. Personally, I didn't do anything. I go out my garage door, and here's the thing. I'm in my towel. I just get out of the shower, and I'm like, I'm really thirsty. I want to get me a drink. I go out into the garage to get a drink. You know that door up there has that lock on it? It opens perfectly fine from the inside, but once it closes, you can't get back in.
Yeah. Oh, no, you locked yourself out.
I was in the garage. Nothing between me and the Lord but a friggin' towel. And I was soaking wet. And I remember I had a drink in my hand, and my towel was being held up with the other one.
Life.
And I'm just like, oh no. I looked around in that garage. Thankfully, we had old totes that had old clothes in it, and I found stuff that was like about a size and a half too small.
Oh, well, at least you're covered.
But the shorts that I was wearing were just like skin tight.
Oh, no.
And I had and there was no underwear out there, so I was free balling. And I had a shirt on that was like, had like Bass Pro or something on it, but it was like ultra sleeveless, like cut down to here. It was one of Blake's old shirts that he used to take fishing.
Yeah.
And I wore it out there. And imagine me, like with like shitty ass flip flops on, hair just got out of the shower wet, walking up. Here's how I was walking weird too, because those shorts were tight. Those shorts were tight, man. And I'm walking, and I walk up to the front door of this woman, the woman who has like the puffball dog. Yeah, walk up there, knock on her door, and I step back because I'm just like, I don't want to like get right up on the door and make it seem like I'm trying to intrude on her home or anything. I literally like from a distance, I was like, ma'am, I accidentally locked myself out of my house. Can I please, if you want to if you can set your phone out here and I'll use your phone in view of you and everything. I need to call someone to come up here and unlock the door for me. And she just goes, yeah, no, and just shuts the door. And I'm just like, I walked, I think it was about 20 houses before I finally found somebody. It was a dude outside working on his boat, and he's like, and I walk up to him like, hey, man, hey. He's like, hey, brother, what do you need? And I'm like, can I borrow your cell phone? I need to call somebody. I got locked out of my house, dude. And he's just like, oh, sure, man, here you go. I call up Blake. Blake gets home, and he is just about red in the face from laughing of the fact that I was just like, what I'm wearing. And he's just like, what the hell are you wearing? I'm just like, this is your shirt, asshole. I don't want to hear it.
Somebody should have took a picture.
It's going to be great if we start this video and it's like, first horror story. So a lady was just chilling in her house one day when a very strange man in very tight clothes walked up on the front.
He had a very creepy look on his face, as though he was ready to.
He asked to use her phone, but she said that he looked deranged and just wasn't able to bring herself to allow him to use the phone.
And he shows one of those creepy pictures, like those creepy pasta, like creepy dude pictures, like. Oh God! So I guess we're gonna see. Hey, Mr. Nightmare, am I one of the? Am I one of them? Am I one of the creepy stories? Here we go. It's
gonna be a long intro, by the way.
I'll shorten it if I have to. That was still really funny.
Yeah, definitely.
Story 1.
I'm currently in a predicament, and quite frankly, I don't know what to do. I'll start from the beginning. 5 years ago, my next-door neighbor Charlie, or Charles as we call him, informed us of his 14-year-old son's disappearance. He reported it to the police, it was on the news, it was everywhere. Me and my wife felt absolutely awful, and always offered to help them out in any way we could. As the years passed with no word of their son, we assumed they eventually came to terms with it, and realized the worst had probably happened. Me and my wife never had the nerve to ask if the body ever turned up. Occasionally Charles and his wife would invite me and my wife over for a barbecue during the warmer months. We noticed neither of the two were ever the same since their son had gone missing. Charles' wife Kathy was always quieter and more reserved, and Charles just seemed more awkward and nervous, both understandable to a certain extent. Fast forward a couple of years later to just last week. Charles came over to me when I was taking out the garbage and asked to borrow a shovel. Without hesitation, I ran to get him my best shovel, not asking why he needed it. He thanked me and said he just had to do some work in his backyard and he'd get it back to me by tomorrow. He then disappeared into his backyard. I went inside, and when I was by one of my upstairs windows that has a clear view into Charlie's backyard, I could see he was digging out a really big hole in the ground. He seemed to be struggling a bit. He's 56 after all. I figured I'd go grab my second shovel and help him out. As I entered his backyard and called his name, he looked up from what he was doing, dropped my shovel, and hurried over to me, saying, No, it's okay, Tim, I got it. Please, just leave. I said, "What's wrong with you? It's not a big deal."
I know where this is going.
Mainly because of his bizarre reaction. He told me I will not allow you to use that shovel in my backyard, and then pointed to the gate as if I were a dog. I was so taken aback by how he was acting that I just left without saying another word. I went upstairs to spy on him through the window. He was digging the hole for at least another half hour. When it finally looked like he was done, he started looking around, like up high at neighboring houses as if to check and make sure nobody was watching. And then, before I could think to hide, he spotted me at my window. All I could do at that point was casually walk away. He's up to something, and I wanted to find out what. I continued to look at his backyard every so often, but he wasn't digging anymore. I figured he knew I was watching now and would wait until it was dark out. And I was exactly right. At 1:30 in the morning, I heard the sound of a shovel hitting the dirt outside. It was too dark to see anything from my window now, so I snuck outside quietly and looked over the fence in the backyard. I could see him digging loud and clear now. When he went inside his house, I took that opportunity to sneak into his backyard and take a look at what was in the hole he was digging. The moonlight alone revealed a small piece of a black garbage bag protruding from the dirt at the bottom of the hole. I looked at his back door and back at the hole. I did this 3 more times, deciding whether or not to see what was in the bag. In the end, I decided to run back to my backyard, and it was a good thing I did because he came back outside seconds later. But he wasn't digging. In fact, he disappeared to the other side of his house and didn't come back. I went back into my house and quietly got back into bed, trying not to wake up my wife. The next day, the first thing I did was look out my window to see that the hole in the ground was completely patched up in Charles' backyard. I also noticed that his SUV was parked in the street now instead of his driveway. I don't know what happened throughout the rest of that night, but I'm disturbed to think that what was at the bottom of that hole might have been his son's body. For all I know, he dug up that hole to remove whatever he had previously buried down there and drive it somewhere else to dump it. This is all speculation, call me crazy if you want. I haven't told anyone, not even my wife. And quite frankly, I don't know what to do. Charles never gave me back my shovel. I'm not going to ask him for it. In fact, he's been avoiding me ever since. And something disturbing happened yesterday. I by coincidence happened to look out my window across to Charlie's house and caught him standing at one of his windows looking into mine. When he saw me, he shut his blinds, and that was in the middle of the day. I have no idea what to do, but I'm honestly terrified.
That's from
Disturbia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good movie.
It is a
Good movie.
I would submit an anonymous tip to the police if I was him.
Me too.
I've lived in 3 houses.
Yeah, I would too. My whole thing with that is the whole like Jean-Benet Ramsey, you heard about that situation. Just horrible what happened to that little girl. And to think that one of the parents was the one that did it, and yet neither of them have served any time for it. Same thing with the West Memphis 3. Like, Damian Eccles, Miss Kelly, and I forget the other boy's name. But all of them basically served half of their, or half, or almost 50, actually it was 20 years in prison for the murder and mutilation of these 3 boys. And in truth, they they found all this evidence, DNA evidence, linking it to one of the boys that was murdered, his stepfather, because there was a knife that he showed off to a news crew one time, and they noticed that there was blood stains on it. And then when the police came to collect DNA evidence, all of a sudden that knife wound up missing. And he said, "Oh, it's one of the most important things I own. I always got it with me." And
That's
all of a sudden,
suspicious.
that knife went missing. Then not only that, they also ran DNA evidence, and they found out that there was a lot of there was some of the blood that was left over, scrapings of it, and turns out that DNA evidence basically exonerated the 3 who were incarcerated, but the state refused to pardon them. And instead, all 3 of them had to give an Alford plea, which is basically they admit, "Oh yes, we did it," and by them admitting that they did it, the state will let them go free. So therefore, the state can deem the case closed, but yet
They
those
don't
3
wanna- they don't wanna open case.
won't have to serve any more time. And it's honestly one of the most ridiculous, hokum stories people have and even my own dad believed those boys did it. And
Wow.
I'm just like, look, all of the evidence is literally right there.
Right.
This isn't some conspiracy theory,
Right.
if this would have happened and that could have happened. No, there's literally point to point references of how everything happened,
Right.
and all 3 of those boys are innocent. Jesus.
In my life.
Sorry.
2 with my family and my current house by myself. We lived in the first house for the first 15 years of my life, and the second house the next 7 before I moved out to my current home. This experience happened in my first home when I was 15, within the last few months of my family living in that house. I don't remember my family ever being really friendly with the neighbors. In fact, there were 2 kids living next door with their dad that me and my brother had only talked to maybe once or twice our entire lives. As bizarre as that is, though we did know both of their names, Eric and Todd. One day, me and my brother, who is 5 years younger than me, were outside playing basketball in the driveway. That was when one of the 2 boys next door, Todd, came outside and walked over to us, initiating a conversation. I don't remember what we said to each other quote for quote, but I remember the first thing that he asked us was if it was true that we were moving. As the older brother, I did most, if not all, of the talking. Todd was probably the same age as me. I never actually asked. By the end of the conversation, he invited me to come with he and his brother to shoot BB guns by the river in the woods down the road the next day. I agreed since it was the weekend and I didn't have anything going on anyway. My little brother asked if he could come at the last second, not under the assumption that he was automatically invited as well. Todd said yeah and then walked away. Late the next day, around an hour before dusk, Eric and Todd rang the doorbell. We were quick to answer the door because our parents didn't know that we were going out to shoot BB guns. Walking down the sidewalks with Todd and Eric decked out in camo gear and carrying a duffel bag of BB guns was really strange. The level of seriousness these 2 clearly had in this was really weird to me and my brother, and we kept meeting eyes, holding in our laughter a couple of times because of it. We got to the woods having spoken very few words. I could already tell these 2 were kids of few words. Maybe why we hadn't met them officially until that point. Todd dropped the duffel bag onto the ground and unzipped it, while Eric aggressively snapped a branch off a tree and threw it into the river. Me and my brother looked at each other again, this time not finding it as funny. Todd pulled out a couple of guns and handed them to me and my brother, and that's when Todd dropped the bomb and told us they were real guns.
Ooh.
Eric grabbed a loaded gun from the bag and began firing at trees across the river. When I realized he wasn't joking about the guns being real, I was in a mix of anger and confusion. I grabbed the gun from my brother's hands and placed both of them back in the bag. I told them we weren't comfortable with this and had to leave. Eric stopped firing, and they both looked at us with expressions that seemed half angry. One of the 2 boys yelled a curse word at us as we were walking away. I always had a feeling these two were bad kids, but this confirmed it. I told my brother not to speak to them anymore for the remainder of our time living there. We told our parents at the dinner table that night that they were really weird kids, but we didn't mention the gun thing. I woke up that night to a breeze of cold air hitting me in the face. My window was open all the way. I felt something hard press up against the back of my head as I was looking out the window, and somebody behind me going, shh, shh. Somehow I didn't scream or jump, I just stayed calm. I was able to understand what was going on surprisingly quickly. I heard Todd's voice in a whisper behind my head. He told me if I ever told anybody, especially his dad, about the guns or the visit, he would come back and kill me and my entire family.
Jesus.
I replied in a quiet, shaky voice, "Okay." He pushed my head with his gun before leaving through my window. Every night thereafter for months, I would catch either Todd or Erik at a certain window of their house, looking into either my or my brother's room. Their behavior became more and more strange as we got closer to the date of our move. Just a week before we moved, a rock was thrown at my window one night at like 1 a.m. I opened my window and saw Todd aiming a pistol up at the window, and feeling like I was about to die, I dove for the ground, only to hear the two boys crack up in laughter. I heard one of them refer to me as a fucking retard. There were 2 other instances that week where the two would harass either me or my brother, and ultimately I couldn't think of a more perfect time for us to have moved and gotten out of there. After all these years, neither me nor my brother told anybody about the boys or their threats. All I know is those 2 boys were trouble, and it was a good thing we got out of there when we did.
Jesus.
Could
Well,
have ended a whole lot differently.
yeah, I've encountered kids who are I'll say this, they weren't that bad, but they had no problems like throwing rocks at dogs and trying to hurt animals. And here's the thing, I told them, I told them, I didn't like that. I didn't like that, and they called me every word in the book, the F one that rhymes with maggot and all that, and just say, you ain't real, man. You ain't this, you ain't that. And I literally just like if that's what being a man is, then I guess that ain't me. And then basically one of them just pushed me and tried to fight me and all that, and then the other ones had just pulled us apart, and then I left and never hung out with them again.
Those are just bad people. You don't want to be around that.
Here's the thing: the one that called me all those things and was just the one who tortured the most, hit animals and all that, and had no quarrel or qualm about it. He's in jail now. Breaking and entering. It's his second major offense, and he's serving I think 7 years right now. So
wow.
Hey, you get what you pay for, I guess.
I have a
Kids are
story
scary
about
sometimes.
Go ahead.
a strange neighbor. They didn't exactly live next to us, but they lived down our road.
Yeah, pull the mic a little bit closer to you.
Sorry.
It's yeah, right there.
So they lived a few houses down from us, and it was a man and a woman. And the man, he killed the woman and then set the house on fire and then killed himself.
Damn.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. It was crazy. I mean, we just woke up one night. It was probably 2:30 in the morning with fire trucks going down the road and stuff. And I probably was 12, 13 at the time. I was in middle school when it happened. So, yeah, crazy.
Yeah, damn. That's just, that's hammered. I'm sorry you had to go through that. Damn.
At the time I'm writing this happened 2 weeks ago. I've always hated just about all of my neighbors. I'm fresh out of college and I'm living on my own, but that comes at a price. I'm living in a really shitty area, the only place I can afford a house. So I'm not bound to have the ideal neighbors. The neighbors on one side always had their music blasting, while the neighbors on the other side are the creepiest people I've ever met in my life. It's two people living next door. One woman in her 60s who's not friendly at all and honestly doesn't seem all there, and a slightly younger woman who has some kind of severe mental disabilities. I have no idea what the relationship is between the two. I would commonly be sitting on my front porch when I'd look over next door and see the older woman holding the younger woman back as she'd be having some kind of freak-out episode. She'd have her arms crossed and she'd quickly rock back and forth while screaming and making noises. Sometimes she'd even look over and point at me and mumble stuff to the other woman. It's quite disturbing, actually. Sometimes I even go inside when I get too uncomfortable. Anyway, it was a night like any other. I had to go to bed early for work in the morning. However, the next door neighbors were making an unusual amount of noise. I could hear the deranged woman screaming and throwing a fit as the older woman yelled in distress. This went on for about an hour, and I couldn't take it anymore. I marched over to the house next door and banged on the door. The older woman answered and greeted me with a "What the hell do you want?" I asked as politely as I could to keep the noise down. In response, she raised her eyebrows and tilted her head down, clearly annoyed by my request. Just then, the younger woman entered the living room, screaming "How dare you!" repeatedly. The older woman held her back from approaching me, and then slammed the door in my face. I had no idea what just happened, but I felt like I didn't accomplish what I came there for. I walked back to my bed in defeat. However, I realized they had finally gone silent next door. I was able to get some sleep at last. Well, I woke up, feeling like the night went way too fast. I looked at my clock and saw that it was only 3 in the morning. My head fell back into the pillow in relief, but pretty soon I thought I could hear something come from downstairs. I got out of my bed and went over to my door just to make sure I wasn't hearing things. When I didn't hear any other sounds, I went back to bed. I woke up once again to a dark room. Only 20 minutes had passed since I'd fallen back asleep. I didn't know what could have woken me up though. And then I heard.
Oh, hell no.
I panicked and tried to find my phone on my bedside desk as a source of light, but when I found it, I didn't dare turn the light on. I looked around the dark room in silence, trying to find some kind of dark figure in the room. I looked at every corner of the room, and even though it was so dark, I could tell there wasn't anybody standing there. This time I heard where it was coming from. I turned to the edge of my bed and saw a black shadowy circle-like object right at the edge of the wooden wall of my bed. When the light of my phone revealed that black object to be the face of the deranged woman from next door, she screamed like the lunatic she was. She screamed as if she were a vampire in the light. I screamed as well. I screamed as I clumsily ran for the door and tripped halfway, looking back to see the woman following me. I slammed the bedroom door behind me and ran all the way downstairs, where I locked the door leading to the upstairs. I called the cops as the woman pounded on the door, screaming incomprehensible things. When the cops showed up, I told them the woman lives next door and that she was mentally insane. The older woman from next door came over after hearing all the commotion and spoke with the cops, pleading with them to let her go, but they insisted they had to take her in for at least the night. One of the officers asked me if I wanted to press charges, and as he asked this, the older woman gave me the most evil, hateful stare imaginable. I chose not to press charges, but her stare didn't change. The officers drove the ill woman away, while the older woman continued to stare at me as she walked back to her house. 5 minutes later, I saw her get in her car and drive away. These two still live next to me. I'm seriously considering moving out because the creepy woman next door makes it clear she despises me. And I've concluded that the mentally ill woman is not only terrifying, but dangerous as well.
Yes.
Yeah, fuck all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd already be moving, like.
Oh, easily.
Oh my god.
Easily. I would literally just be like, okay, Facebook friends, be like, anyone else, like, anyone out there have a spare room? I don't care if I have to live. I don't care if I have to live in a loft space in the attic.
Oh, I couldn't do that.
Get me the fuck away from this.
Lady's just lucky he doesn't own a gun.
No, God.
Well, here's the thing. I put like several barriers of protection between myself because I'm aware of how crazy the world can be, and I I have the front door that's locked. I have the one down here that's locked. The back deck where it's locked. I make sure all my windows are sealed tight and all that.
Bedroom door's locked.
Bedroom door is locked. Well, yeah, my bedroom door, I lock it. I make sure that the extra door that leads into my room from the porch is locked as well. And I have my pistol right there in my nightstand right next to me. I roll over, I get it out, and there we go.
Yeah.
And
Got a 22 shotgun.
well, there you go. Yeah, you got your 20 gauge.
20 gauge and
yeah.
then the 22s in the closet.
Oh yeah, y'all got a little 22 pistol. Or is it the pistol or the rifle?
It's a rifle.
Okay.
I have a fucking alien spear, and that's all I have. I think I left it in my
We need to get
trunk.
him like a little 22 pistol.
You need a gun.
We need to get you like a little 22 pistol.
I've wanted a gun for a really long time. I just
Well-
can't ever afford one.
Well, we can.
There's a gun show
Oh yeah.
soon. It's like,
Yeah, it's right here. No,
I think, oh yeah, we're here.
Yeah. Right there. God. But let's take you to one of these gun shows around here.
I think it's on
them
Pi Day.
Yeah, they usually sell them for ridiculously cheap.
Yeah,
And we'll see if we can't find you a little 22 to give you.
and the
Yeah,
gun
the thing about
laws.
22s though is they have no stopping power.
Well,
It's not really good for
one
home
up in the
defense.
computer, and basically, there's no kick on them either.
Yeah,
There's no kick.
that's if they're not a too much of a moving target to actually hit the computer. That's the thing.
It's easy enough to, because here's the thing. There are, like, the human head is, like, has only so much, like, degree of movement, and as long as you hit within that triangle, they teach you to shoot for the triangle, which is right here. Mm-hmm. You shoot right there, you aim for that, you basically, like, win. That's what Jake talked about it too. He's like,
Other thing too though is I'm not really looking to necessarily like end someone if they are in my house.
Well,
like,
if they're in your house and they could cause you
cause you
harm.
harm.
They're threatening you.
well,
so
and also that's the thing about a 22. A 22 is not lethal.
yeah.
Not lethal if you.
well,
shoot
it is
them
if
in
you
the
shoot
leg.
them with a computer.
Well, that's the thing. Like you're saying, it doesn't have stopping
in-
power, but yet you're talking about. Well, I don't want to kill them, dude. If you hit someone like in the chest with a 38, dude, they're more than likely not gonna live just from the kinetic damage that does to the human body.
Yeah, fair enough.
If you have a 22, be like, I'm gonna shoot you in the leg. If you don't, I'm gonna do it again. Like
The other thing too though is
No.
I've seen like
I
it's-
just,
one
we
of the
got
things
flood
about a home
rounds.
invader
It
is
just yeah.
it's very likely. It's not very likely, but I mean, it's there's a % chance for sure that they're on some kind of drugs.
yes,
And I've seen enough shooting breakdown videos, especially from like Donut, on like, yeah, this is why cops carry like ammo, and this is why cops don't stop shooting after like one round. And it's because like if people are on drugs, like you can put bullets in them, and like normally like shots that should have downed a normal person.
Oh, that is
They
true.
can just fucking power
this is why
through.
they teach you. This is why they teach you shoot for the hip. You know why? Because if you shoot for the hip, then basically.
They're
I thought
gonna
you said
go
they teach you
down.
shoot
They
for
go
the
down.
triangle. What do they teach you?
Well,
Well,
no. If you're wanting to disable them, shoot for the hip. If you want to kill them, shoot for the triangle.
Yeah, fair enough.
Like that's the thing. Like they teach you that in police training and everything as well. Like Jake talked about it, Zach's talked about it. I mean, honestly, like I have my 40, actually no, 9mm. Sorry, Zach has the 40, the 40 caliber. He hates that thing so much. I love my 9mm though.
I kind of just want a 45. Like,
Oh gosh, you want a 1911 45?
not a 1911, but
Well, it's the most popular 45.
yeah.
yeah, but Man,
but
I mean, not necessarily a 19.
well, 45 is a beast of a fucking caliber. I mean, it's like a 9mm may kill the body, but a 45 ACP will kill the soul. Like that. That will send them to God.
They will.
Not
That will
necessarily.
They will
send
not
them
be
to God.
here.
It's not like it's a 50 cal.
They won't
or
be
something.
here anymore.
Exactly.
It's not like it's a 50 cal or something, but yeah, that's the
Oh,
thing.
no.
That's the thing I've heard though is for home defense, like you either want a shotgun because it's close quarters.
Got a
and-
good spread.
Yeah,
as Bill Burr would
Yep.
say.
Well, it's close quarters and you don't have to necessarily like have the best aim. Like you can shoot towards like, someone in like the half light, like of like your darkened house with a shotgun, and you're most likely going to at least put enough pellets in them to send them running back out of your house. If
Well, yeah.
not, take them down.
Yeah.
Well,
But
again, that's why I
but
have
barring
birdshot
that, a
sight.
45 is like a guaranteed, like they're not going to get to you if they start coming at you type thing.
Well, yeah. I mean,
It's like as long as you can aim pretty much center mass with a 45, you can probably stop someone with it from coming
Yeah.
at you.
45's got a hell of a kick. That's why I recommend for like a lot of.
And that's my whole thing too. Is like literally like I know if someone's in my house, like I'm like going to assess the situation. Like if the first thing I see is a firearm aiming at me, I'm gonna pull the trigger.
Yeah.
Obviously, like aiming at them.
Well, of course.
But like if the first thing I see is just someone shuffling in my shit and stuff, I'm probably gonna flip the lights on and be like, "Get the fuck out of my house!" Like
yeah, and if they
then-
charge you,
yeah,
then you
depends
shoot.
on what they do at that point. Like
Yeah.
I have a different point of view
What's that?
that if somebody is in my house, I don't care what they're doing, they're going to get shot.
well,
Unless
hey,
they were invited.
I'm in your house every
Well,
night.
no,
Please
no,
don't shoot me if I'm wrestling around.
She said if they're invited, unless they're invited.
Yeah, but
Like-
it's just like, please don't mistake
No,
me
no,
for
no.
someone like wrestling around in the middle of the night because I'm awake very late. Like, don't shoot me.
Oh, God. Now you're going to think I'm going to, like, murder
That's the
you
whole
or
thing. Just keep in mind
No.
you live with roommates and you should
No.
ask questions before shooting.
Yeah,
Don't shoot
I
first, ask
know.
questions later.
I know that it's you. I'm talking about somebody I don't know.
Oh God.
Yeah, but it's just like if you see like this dark shadow wrestling around and you're just gonna start shooting at it. Like, what if it's me? Like, just trying to get my cat to fucking come to bed and I get shot in the ass. Like, what the fuck?
What the hell, Kate? And you're like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
I'll be like, sorry's not good enough. Call
And all of a
911.
And all of a sudden, I'm gonna be coming across the house, and be like, what the hell is going on? I'll be like, holy shit, Nick's got a hole in his ass.
Well, I'll be really mad because I'll be like, I don't have health insurance, Kay. What the fuck?
Oh God, we're laughing, but good God, I hope that doesn't happen.
It's not gonna
I know.
happen. Maybe I should clarify next time.
Oh God. Oh,
My
I need to breathe.
housemates are safe. Like,
I hope
Oh
so.
Lord, I'm getting. Oh Lord, have mercy, I'm getting the vapors.
I don't want to be on 3 true scary
need a-
roommate stories where
need
my
a
roommate
fan.
accidentally shot me.
Oh. Hold on. Yeah, I weighed myself down with a
you need a ball.
with a Mr. Beast with a patented Mr. Beast chocolate bar. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, fan
Turn it
myself
around
off
so
of
they can see the
Oh
logo.
yeah, there you go. Oh yeah.
Wait, let me see that.
There you go. These are actually pretty good, Kate. They're
Doubles,
those,
doubles
crunch
a
ones.
snack and fan.
Yes. They're actually pretty good. They're actually a pretty healthy chocolate too. It's a more dark chocolate.
Well, don't hate me, but I'm not a fan of chocolate.
It's fair.
You want to try it anyway?
I'm okay. Thank you, though.
Yeah, she doesn't like chocolate.
I'm sorry. I'm weird.
No, it's not. It's perfectly fine.
The only kind of chocolate I like are the peanut M&Ms because it's barely any chocolate, if that makes sense.
I get you. No, I
Yeah.
understand that.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that was 3 True Neighbor Horror Stories by Mr. Nightmare. Every time y'all ask us to react to these, I'm always down to do it, but at the same time, it's just like some of these like people have sent us have just been like absolutely hilariously bad. I mean, honestly. Especially when it's Chills doing the narration. It's just like, number 15, Burger King foot lettuce.
I used to like him before that became a meme.
Watch Chills.
Yeah, a lot of people did. And then he became a meme. And now he's doing like voiceover cameos, and it's just like, oh god, poor Chills.
His voice is just, I don't know,
Number
some of
15.
his videos it goes with it, but I can see where it could be a meme.
It is.
Well, it was one of those things where his voice didn't bother me until someone pointed it out to me.
Yeah. It's one of those weird
Someone was
things.
like, I can't watch him because of the way he sounds. I'm like, what do you mean? It's like, because he always talks like
He
this
always
and
talks
all
It's
these
like
this.
videos.
Yeah, it's kind of monotone
Yeah.
too.
He
So.
always
And
talks
it's like-
like he's on the brink of shitting himself.
But
I was
feel
fine with it until somebody said something about it, and then I started listening to him again, and I'm just like, that is kind of weird.
Yeah. And it's strange how that works. It's like you don't notice it or think about it.
I hate when
Then
people-
someone mentions it.
Yeah, I hate when people
and then just
ruin
like
stuff for me. Though
it's just
I
like-
before.
it's just like the whole thing. It's like they ruined Indiana Jones for me. How'd they do that? And then it's just like oh, Indiana Jones is completely irrelevant to the plot. Whether he intervenes or not, the Nazis open up the Ark and they all die. Aw.
Well,
Who cares? He's having an adventure.
I know, that's the thing. It's the point. It's
Yeah.
an adventure. It's not supposed to be taken seriously. Ugh.
And I mean, like one of the big things that I had ruined for me that I'm kind of like, that sucks because there were a few shows I used to like that had laugh tracks. But when Chance when my friend pointed out to me that laugh tracks are annoying, I was just like, I've never found them annoying, but then I was zoned in on them when I started watching stuff that has laugh tracks. Now I can't fucking do it anymore.
You know, whenever they say a funny joke in a sitcom and all of a sudden you hear in the
You hear
background,
the crowd going,
oh, okay, yeah.
yeah. And then Always Sunny in Philadelphia basically buried them. And like,
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
I've never watched that show, but I hear it every single day.
Every day.
Sorry.
Because
They
it's
were
Nick's
talking-
ASMR. He falls asleep to that shit.
I don't know if I can say this, but I was talking about tits this morning. Something about tits.
Something about tits.
Something about tits, and I'm like,
That could have
well,
been any
alright
number
then.
of episodes, to be honest. Like,
As
there's,
Dennis goes on and on about tits.
yeah.
And Danny DeVito, too.
I mean, my first guess would be the episode where he, I mean, so they don't directly say it in the episode where they're first talking about the girl on the news. Because they're just
Jackie
like,
DiNardo.
they're just like, because they start watching it and there's like, she's talking about a storm, you know, and she's like, this is the biggest storm that Philadelphia ever could have seen. And they're like, man, I just can't believe like something of this magnitude, you know? And it's like, I know, right? This is like the biggest like I've ever seen, like, you know, stuff like that.
Oh man!
And then
I
it shows the
don't think-
TV and it's just like, oh wow, look at this. They're just staring at her boobs.
No, they actually said the word, and I busted out laughing. And I mean, obviously nobody else was awake, but
Yeah.
So there's another episode where Jackie DiNardo comes back and Dennis is like fantasy about what he would do whenever he's this dude's robbing the convenience store that they're in.
Oh, no.
And so his fantasy starts out basically with him walking up and he's like, hey, and he's like, you don't have to do this, you know, and just trying to talk to the guy. And the guy just straight up shoots him in the forehead and he's just like, oh, crammy handled bit, and falls over. And so then he wakes up in the hospital and it's like, oh, what happened? And the doctor's like, it's like, you were shot in the head, and it's like, but the bullet narrowly missed your brainstem. And like, he's like, does my dick still work? And he's like, no, sir, I'm afraid your penis does not still work. And he's just like, kill me. But then his nurse comes in, and it's Jackie DiNardo, and he's like, Jackie DiNardo from the Channel 5 News. He's like, yeah, I used to be, but now I'm like helping people get better, you know? And so he's like, the forecast looks like sunshine. And it's got like this whole montage of like her hanging out with him and helping him recover and walk again and everything. And then about the time at the end, he's roller skating with her outside, and he's like, Jackie, I'm in love with you, and lets go of her hand, and she goes off in front of a car. And then she's in the hospital, and he's like, her tits. is like, what about her tits? And he's like, the doctor's like, what? Her tits? And he's like, yeah, I'm afraid they were completely obliterated. And he's just like,
Kill me.
No, and then he proceeds to get a pillow. And
he's like, could you leave us for a minute? And he's like, I'm sure, you know, like, this road's a long one, but you'll be by her side and she'll recover, you know, and, like, you'll help her like she helped you, you know. He's like, could you just leave us alone for a minute? And then he's just like, and he gets a pillow and starts smothering her while the fucking happy-ass music is playing. I can't.
Sounds really dark.
I can't.
It's always sunny.
I
It's
cannot
always
unhear
dark.
it every time I hear that song now. Walking on sunshine. Dennis just smothering her with the pillow.
Oh God! Every time I hear that song, I think of the dog episode from Futurama. Oh,
But this dude's a fucking psychopath. That's why. That's his fantasy.
Dennis is a legit psychopath.
Yep.
Anyway, sorry, but that's gonna do it, everyone. Thank y'all for tuning in. I'm Nate.
I'm Kate.
I'm Nick.
We'll see you, everybody. Peace.
Bye.
Back, turn back the pace. Right, be so rough. Times is tough. Life stays that way. Times is hard. Life stays that way. Back, turn back the pace. Right, be so rough. Times is tough. Life stays